Okay, David, here we are. I've got your broken starter here, and I wanted to make this video for you so that you could get a really good understanding of just where I'm at with respect to getting this. Now, I still accept full responsibility for having broken this starter, but I just wanted to make it clear that, initially we got this replacement starter and it wouldn't fit in the bike. So I took the front off of it, the planetary gears, and swapped it. There's the new one there. There's the old one here. And I basically tried to make one good starter out of two. And this whole thing, I don't want to say fell apart because I broke it. I did it, and I just wanted to show you this real quick. So remember I was showing you in the previous video that both of the back caps, the old cap had all this traffic in it, and the new cap was clear. And I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll machine the old cap just as you see it now, so that all that traffic is cleared, and then potentially I could just stick this back cap on this starter and make one good starter. But I noticed something really interesting in the not only did this not work, but I noticed something in the process of doing this. Now, here's the old armature, and this is the back bearing, and this back bearing goes inside that space right there, right? So when you put the two of them together like this, they fit in just like that. I'll hold this in really close. I don't know you can see, but I want you to focus on this area way down there, right where the tip of the screw is touching. You can see that. And you'll see just how close that is. I'm spinning the armature with my fingers. Okay, and so basically that's full penetration. The bearing is all the way seated in this cup. And we can also tell that it's seated in the cup because the bearing being shiny on the end, just this little end piece here, it seats completely in the cup. And we know this to be true because when you look at the relationship of the cup, there's no dirt behind where the bearing is, and there's no dirt in front of it, obviously, because everything is spinning. Okay, so this is the old starter, right? This is the old original Honda one. So that's what that is. Okay, so now we have your new starter and, of course, the part that I broke. And I'm going to pull this cap off, but before I do, I just want to show you something. Right here, this is where the power goes to the starter. But right here, where the end cap meets the starter, you can see there's a little gap right here, and this is where a rubber O-ring would sit and seal out the dirt, just like I was trying to up here. I put two O-rings in here to sort of close the gap and stop dirt from getting in there. But over here, you can see that this cap will never go on any deeper than this little shoulder right there. I need something even pointier. Okay, here we are. Yeah. So this is as deep as it will ever get right there because it's shoulders and it can't go any further. And now watch the tip of this. Right down inside there, that's the bearing that goes into the back cap. Just like the old starter or the old bearing, that's it in there. I'm going to show you that bearing never seats completely in the back cap. And that's probably how I was able to break this to my surprise, right? Like when it broke, I was like, what the hell? I barely put any pressure on it. So I'm going to pull this back cap off, just like this. Put the starter down. And you'll just see inside here, this is where the bearing actually sat. This dirt ring, and then below that, it never touched. The bearing never got to this part down here, and we know this to be true because the dirt is only where the bearing was, right? Like, so, and the reason this happens is because this shoulder right here, this guy right here, won't allow the bearing to go all the way deep inside. And look at the difference, right? So the straw is at the very bottom, and the bearing stops about halfway in the depth of that. So when I was tightening down these bolts that went into these holes, and of course this one's broken off, but when I was tightening these down, I was pulling really, really hard on this edge right here, thinking that I was actually getting the bearing to go right into the back of the cap, when actually it wasn't. And that kind of brings us all the way back to the very beginning of this particular starter that we got on eBay. This is a cheap copy, and expensive as it was cheaper than the alternatives. And we kind of know why. It's because this starter, well, it just didn't fit in the bike. Remember that? Like I showed you that when I put it in, it would either go in deep enough, but then the bolts wouldn't line up, or I could line up the bolts, but then it wouldn't go in deep enough. It was like one or the other. So through mix and matching parts, we've ended up here in this conversation. I'm not going to go in circles, but I just wanted to show you why it absolutely kills me that that this bearing never goes all the way deep inside. You see that? You can hold it really close. Can't focus in there. Yeah, see, there's the bearing. It never goes all the way in when I push on it. It's going to be stopped by this edge right here. And look how thin that is. There's the bearing right there. See that? Makes me nuts. Okay, bud. Well, listen, I've already reached out to a couple suppliers to see if I could find you a replacement starter, because obviously I've completely broken this one. I'm going to try and get you on the road as quickly as possible. And again, I am absolutely terribly sorry for this blunder. I just wanted to give you a little perspective as into how this mistake was made. I was tightening down those screws, wasn't putting much pressure, it just popped. I was like, what the hell?